If you've been scrolling through endless pool pump options, watching videos that sound more like infomercials than honest reviews, and you still feel a knot in your stomach every time you think about committing to a purchase, you're not alone. I've been there, comparing variable speed models, trying to figure out whether the extra cost really translates into lower bills or just another piece of equipment that sits under the deck and gathers dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video I'm going to walk through exactly why the Pentair IntelliFlo VS Plus SVRS might be the right or wrong choice for your backyard, based on what the pump actually does in a typical residential setup and where the value really shows up beyond the headline specs. First, let's talk about the problem most pool owners face, the trade-off between water circulation, chemical distribution, and the electric bill. A standard single-speed pump will spin at full throttle all the time, which means you get the flow you need, but you also pay for that power every single hour it runs. Variable speed pumps promise to give you the same flow at a lower speed, cutting energy use dramatically. That promise is what pulls most people toward a Pentair IntelliFlo, but the devil is in the details, especially when you factor in installation, wiring, and the smart control interface that Pentair touts. The IntelliFlo VS Plus SVRS is a 230-volt, 2-inch inlet and outlet pump that uses a permanent magnet motor paired with a totally enclosed fan-cooled TEFC design. Those terms sound technical, but what they really mean for you is that the motor runs cooler and more efficiently than a brushed motor, which is where a lot of the energy savings come from. The EPA Energy Star certification backs that up. On paper, you can expect a 6,000 to 80% reduction in electricity usage compared to a comparable single-speed pump. In my own research, I ran the numbers on a typical 15,000-gallon in-ground pool with a 1.5-hour run time for filtration and found the projected annual savings to be roughly $250 to $350, depending on your local electricity rates. That's a real-world figure you can actually see on your utility bill. Now, the intelligent software part. Pentair equips this pump with an onboard computer that lets you program up to 12 speed settings, schedule run times, and even adjust flow on the fly from a smartphone app. If you've ever wished you could lower the pump speed while you're just skimming the surface, or crank it up during a pool party when you're adding a lot of guests, the app makes that possible without climbing under the deck. The software also includes a safety vacuum release switch, the SVRS in the name, that complies with federal regulations. In practical terms, that switch shuts the pump off if the pump suddenly draws a vacuum, say, because a pipe bursts or a filter blows out, preventing damage to the motor and giving you a clear warning rather than a silent failure. So who should actually consider buying this pump? If you own a medium to large-size in-ground pool, anything over 12,000 gallons, and you're already paying a noticeable chunk of your monthly budget to the electric company, the IntelliFlo VS Plus is a compelling upgrade. Homeowners who like to tinker a bit and want the flexibility to fine-tune flow for different tasks like running a pool heater, a waterfall feature, or a salt chlorine generator will appreciate the multiple speed options. Also, if your local utility offers time-of-use rates, cheaper at night, you can program the pump to run at a lower speed during off-peak hours and still maintain adequate circulation, squeezing even more savings out of the system. On the flip side, there are clear reasons to skip it. First, the upfront cost is significantly higher than a basic single-speed pump. You're looking at a few $100s for the unit itself, plus potentially $100 to $200 for professional installation if you're not comfortable handling 230-volt wiring and setting up the control module. Second, if your pool is small, under 10,000 gallons, or you only run the pump a few hours a day, the energy savings curve flattens out. In those cases, the payback period can stretch beyond 5 years, making the investment feel less justified. Lastly, the app and programmable interface are great, but they add a layer of complexity. Some users have reported that the initial setup takes longer than expected, especially if you have an older pool control system that doesn't speak the same language. If you're looking for a set-and-forget solution with minimal learning curve, a high-efficiency single-speed pump might be a better fit. Let's drill into a couple of real-world scenarios. Imagine it's a hot summer afternoon, you've just turned on the pool heater, and you want the water to circulate quickly so the temperature rises evenly. With a standard single-speed pump, you're stuck at full speed, which means the heater runs at maximum output but you're also paying the maximum electricity rate. With the IntelliFlo, you can select a mid-range speed that moves enough water for the heater to work efficiently while keeping the motor's power draw down by roughly 40%. The heater reaches